And welcome racing fans to Langley Raceway for tonight's event for the J&W Hoosier Racing Tires Mini Stock Division. 25 laps will be the distance in a very busy night of action here at the Raceway. Due to some other divisions of racing on hand, the Mini Stocks did not go under the clock for time trials this afternoon, and that was bad news for a lot of the competitors because that puts the point leader Brian Loving in the TAE Imports, number 55 on the pole for tonight's event. The other driver to win a feature race in the field, the 00 machine of Jim Atkins, will flank him on the outside of row number 1. Off in the second row will be the number 25 machine of Kevin Harrison, along with the lone female campaigner, or I should say one of two females in the field. That'll be the 26 car of Kathy Mosier. In the third row, the number 8 machine of Ryan Nichols and the 49 of Milt Herring Jr. Row number 4 tonight, the number 2 of Trevor Falls, and outside of him, the 21 of Kevin Reitnauer. Row number 5, the 70 of Jerry Safrans, and the number 1 machine of Peyton Lamb. Going off in row number 6, the 01 of Jimmy Crawford and the number 60 car of Bob Cochran. In the 7th row, the number 90 of Dale Kramer and the 19 of Terry Kreitzer. Row number 8, the 15 of Martin Riley and the other female campaigner, the 72 of Valerie Hall. Row number 9, the 22 of Bob Swanson, followed by the number 11 of Billy Smith III. And rounding out the order, one of the newcomers in the field, the number 41 of Sean Hess, along with the 13 of Wilson Smith Jr. Field getting the green flag here for the first time this evening. 25 laps, again the distance for the mini stock campaigners. And the number 2 point man, Jim Atkins, takes the early lead, but out of shape off turn number 4. He really got up into loose stuff, and Brian Loving reassumes the number 1 spot. Torrid battle for third. Kevin Harrison holds the spot for the moment. Kathy Mosier back in fourth with Ryan Nichols of the number 8 machine in the 5th spot. Loving, an 8-time feature winner this year, works off turn number 4 back to the stripe for lap number 2. 60 machine of Rob Cochran starting 12th on the field, already in trouble. He's off the pace as the leaders peel by him in turn number 1 and 2. Also the 13 machine of Wilson Smith Jr., also making his first appearance here this season, is also having some troubles. He is off the pace. Leaders work off turn number 3 and 4, and Atkins continues to have some trouble. The 00 sliding up the banking. Kevin Harrison slides underneath of him in the second. It'll be Atkins now in third as he continues to slip through. 26 of Kathy Mosier holds on to fourth, and 8 of Ryan Nichols in the number 5 spot. 2 cars peel off into the pits. The number 19 of Terry Kreitzer, and now the 60 of Rob Cochran, who we spoke about. He has put that car on the access road. Kreitzer now is exiting the pits, and he'll come back out, so Cochran looks to be the first official casualty of tonight's activities. Number 2 machine of Trevor Falls, just graduating from high school earlier this afternoon, has now moved himself into the number 6 spot, trying to give himself a better present as he holds on to the spot. Milt Herring Jr. in car number 49, currently in the number 7 spot. 21 of Kevin Reitnauer holding on to 8th. 9th on the grid, the 70 of Jerry Safrans. The KC Honda car lost a wheel and had some damage done to it during practice earlier today, so he's back in action. And the number 1 machine of Peyton Lamb rounds out your top 10. Good battles in a few spots, and one of those involves Trevor Falls and Ryan Nichols as Trevor tries to get into the top 5 for the first time tonight. He'll do it. A little bit of trouble on his cars. He worked down the front straightaway. Nichols will be drop kicked back. Those two continue to battle hard in turn number 2. Heller Herring in the 49 right behind him, followed by Jerry Safrans, Kevin Reitnauer, and Peyton Lamb making up the top 10. Meanwhile, it's Brian Loving back to the stripe for lap number 7. 15 car of Martin Riley starting back at that 15 spot, the latest driver to make a visit down on pit road here in the early stages of tonight's activities. Jim Atkins, the leader of the, well, we shouldn't even say the first lap, 3/4 of that lap until he got out of shape coming off turn number 4, and since then the 00 has given up one other spot, but now has appeared to settle down just a little bit. He'll be tested as he'll have to work 4 lap cars right in a row. Loving and Harrison get around him. Now Atkins with Kathy Mosier just a few car lengths back in 4th. Work around him down in turn number 3 and 4, and again Atkins dirt tracks that car in the 3rd and 4th turn. Laps in the record books, no cautions have flown. Good indication as Brian Loving in car number 55 just set to go at it again and pick up victory number 9. He leads all drivers in any category of racing here at Langley Raceway this year, although there have been a couple of other divisions where some drivers have had some good dominating efforts early. Loving in the 55 has just been one driver that has had a potent car. Even though it was a rain out last Saturday, he complained that his car was just not in good shape during the practice session and had a very concerned look on his face, and they eventually got rained out, so maybe that was good news as we're right back into action here this Saturday under perfect weather conditions. A little bit hazy, hot, and humid out there, but for the drivers, well, for Loving especially, everything continues to go his way. Valerie Hall, one of the female campaigners in car number 72, qualified 16th. She's got her car just at the exit of pit road in a very tough position. She got a consultation from one of the crew members, now heads back out just in front of the leaders as they work turn 1. One car heavily smoking off turn number 4. That'll be the number 70 car at Jerry Safran's. He is running right now in the 8th position and has a pretty good lead over the 21 of Kevin Reitnauer. As a matter of fact, despite the smoke, Safran's is hanging on with that pack of Ryan Nichols, Trevor Falls, and Milt Herring Jr., who are running 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th on the grid. And now Safran's will get the consultation flag, meeting head on in. And a tough break for the Casey Honda team, which has had nothing but bad luck here this afternoon, losing the tire in the practice session, doing some body damage, getting that fixed, coming out for a qualifying effort. Jerry wound up, as far as qualifying, 9th on the grid, which wasn't too bad considering the problems that they had. But now the smoke begins to billow from the car, and the Casey Honda 70 again getting the black flag here on the front straightaway, so a tough break for the team. Well, leader works off the 4th turn back across the front stretch, and that's Brian Loving as he now works underneath of some slower cars. He put 15 on the board that time by, indicating 10 circuits to go in tonight's event. Peyton Lamb in the number 1 machine is one of the cars that is running in the 10th position, I do believe, as they work off turn number 4. Loving is on a blistering pace, gets around the Lamb car with Terry Kreitzer just in front of him. 9th place machine of Kevin Reitnauer with about a half straightaway gap between himself and the driver that is in the number 1 spot, as Kevin Harrison comfortably holds on to 2nd, Jim Atkins 3rd, Mosier in 4th, and that battle between Ryan Nichols and Trevor Falls, they have again exchanged the spots, with Ryan now 5th, and Trevor running 6th on the grid, Milt Herring in 7th, and Kevin Reitnauer in the number 8 spot. Trouble over in turn number 3 and 4, and one car limping noticeably, and he is just at the entrance of pit road. We may be able to keep it green flag. That'll be the number 11 car, powered by Billy Smith III, and he'll bring his Monza to the attention of his crew. He'll go off on the access road. Billy making his first appearance in that car this year, as 18 laps are on the board, soon to be 19, as your leader works turn number 3 and 4. Last week, the mini-stock drivers would not have qualified through the time trials due to some other divisions of racing being on hand, and they were going to invert the top 6 in the series points, which would have put Brian Loving farther back in the order and made him work it. Tonight, they go by their point standing straight up, which put the 55 on the pole, and, well, despite the first lap episode with Jim Atkins, in which the 00 tried to assume control, Atkins, or I should say Loving, has dove underneath that number 00 machine and moved away to about a quarter of a straightaway lead over Kevin Harrison. 21 on the board that time by. We're down to the final 4.5 circuits of tonight's mini-stock action, and we have got a lot of heavy lap traffic for Jim Atkins and Kathy Mosier to work through. Both drivers get through relatively unscathed, but they still have a few more cars to deal with here in the final 4 circuits of tonight's action. Ryan Nichols maintains at number 5 spot. Trevor Falls, a little bit of smoke tailing from the number 2 car. The Smitty's Better Burgers machine now is beginning to lose a little bit to Ryan Nichols, but is comfortably in 6th position with Milt Herring Jr. holding on to 7th. Kevin Reitnauer, the 8th place machine, now goes a lap down as Brian Loving peels by him down the backstretch. The 72 of Valerie Hall may be the final car that he'll have to deal with, as he'll take the 2 to go indication when he comes off turn number 4. Loving works around Valerie Hall as he heads down the back straightaway. Kevin Harrison remains in 2nd. Jim Atkins, Kathy Mosier in 3rd and 4th. Then there's a slew of about, 5 lap cars between the 3rd and 4th place cars and 5th and 6th, as white flag comes out for Brian Loving this time. Dominating season so far. He just wants to have the type of year where he just puts the foot to the floor, puts the pedal to the metal, and just doesn't want to look back, and so far he hasn't. Working down the back straightaway for the final time. Could be a caution-free event. The white is out. The checkered will follow off turn 4. Victory number 9 coming for Brian Loving in car number 55, as the TAE Import Auto Parts car takes the victory. The 25 of Kevin Harrison will come home in 2nd. 3rd on the night's activities will be the 00 of Jim Atkins, the 26 of Kathy Mosier for 4th, and rounding out the top 5 in a slew of traffic will be Trevor Falls nipping Ryan Nichols in the traffic.